Let's explore concepts and theories vital for test preparation. Firstly, understanding Gestalt psychology involves grasping its key principles, which emphasize that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It deals with perception and how humans organize visual elements into groups or unified wholes when certain principles are applied. Secondly, Pigot's cognitive development theory details stages of intellectual progression from infancy to adulthood. These stages, namely sensoromotor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational, describe how children develop logical and abstract thought processes. Thirdly, Bauman's parenting styles categorize parents based on their levels of demandingness and responsiveness. These styles include authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, and uninvolved, each having different impacts on child development and outcomes. Fourthly, social cognitive theory posits that learning occurs through observation, imitation, and modeling. It emphasizes the interaction between personal factors, behavior, and the environment in shaping behavior change. Now, let's cover the research methods used in studies. Firstly, conducting an observational study involves systematic observation and recording of behavior in a natural or controlled setting. The steps typically include defining the research question, selecting participants, determining the observation setting, collecting data, and analyzing the results. Secondly, qualitative research methods explore complex phenomena through non-numerical data such as interviews and observations, while quantitative research methods use numerical data and statistical analysis to measure and quantify relationships between variables. Qualitative methods offer in-depth understanding, while quantitative methods provide generalizable results. Thirdly, ethical considerations in psychological research involve protecting the rights and welfare of participants. This includes obtaining informed consent, minimizing harm, ensuring confidentiality, and avoiding deception whenever possible. Fourthly, interpreting the results of a statistical hypothesis test involves determining whether the evidence supports rejecting the null hypothesis in favor of the alternative hypothesis. This is typically done by comparing the p-value to the significance level, with a small p-value indicating strong evidence against the null hypothesis. Next, psychological disorders and their characteristics. Firstly, schizophrenia involves symptoms such as hallucinations, delusions, disorganized thinking, and negative symptoms like flattened affect and social withdrawal. Causes may include genetic factors, brain abnormalities, and environmental influences. Treatments often involve antipsychotic medications and psychosocial therapies. Secondly, anxiety disorders include generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, and specific phobias. Treatment approaches may involve cognitive behavioral therapy, medication, and relaxation techniques. Thirdly, factors contributing to the development of depression include genetic predisposition, stressful life events, neurochemical imbalances, and cognitive factors such as negative thinking patterns. Fourthly, autism spectrum disorder is characterized by deficits in social communication and interaction, as well as restricted, repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities. Diagnostic criteria involve assessing these behaviors and developmental milestones. Let's look at personality and social psychology. Firstly, the 5-factor model of personality describes personality traits along 5 broad dimensions: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. These traits are relatively stable over time and have various applications in predicting behavior and life outcomes. Secondly, social influence includes conformity, compliance, and obedience. Conformity involves adjusting one's behavior or attitudes to match those of a group. Compliance involves agreeing to a request, and obedience involves following orders from an authority figure. Thirdly, interpersonal attraction involves factors such as physical attractiveness, similarity, proximity, and reciprocity. These factors influence the likelihood of forming and maintaining relationships. Fourthly, conformity and obedience play significant roles in social behavior, influencing how individuals respond to social norms and authority figures. Now to brain and behavior. Firstly, a neuron consists of a cell body, dendrites, and an axon. The cell body contains the nucleus. Dendrites receive signals from other neurons, and the axon transmits signals to other neurons or target cells. Secondly, learning and memory involve neurochemical processes such as long-term potentiation, which strengthen synaptic connections between neurons. Neurotransmitters like glutamate and dopamine play crucial roles in these processes. Thirdly, different brain regions are involved in emotions and behavior. For example, the amygdala is involved in processing emotions such as fear, the hippocampus is involved in memory formation, and the prefrontal cortex is involved in executive functions such as decision-making. Fourthly, brain injuries can have various effects on cognitive and emotional functioning depending on the location and severity of the injury. For example, damage to the prefrontal cortex may impair executive functions, while damage to the hippocampus may impair memory. For studying, active recall is a highly effective technique. Try to recall information from memory without looking at your notes. This strengthens memory traces and improves retention. Spaced repetition is another effective technique. Review material at increasing intervals to strengthen memory. This helps to consolidate learning over time and reduces the likelihood of forgetting. Interleaving involves mixing up different topics while studying to improve retention. This forces the brain to retrieve and differentiate between concepts, enhancing understanding. Retrieval practice involves testing yourself and the material regularly to identify areas of weakness. This helps to pinpoint what you know and what you need to review further. Elaboration involves connecting new information to existing knowledge to enhance understanding. This helps to create meaningful associations and makes the material easier to remember. Taking breaks is essential for effective studying. Study in short intervals with breaks in between to refresh your mind. This prevents burnout and improves concentration. Studying with a partner or group can also be beneficial. Discussing and explaining concepts to others helps deepen your understanding. Use visual aids. Create diagrams, charts, or flashcards to improve visual memory. These can help to organize information and make it easier to recall. And seek help early. If you're struggling with concepts, don't hesitate to ask your instructor or a tutor for assistance. Addressing difficulties early on can prevent them from becoming overwhelming.